Are you tired of having to repeat yourself again and again in English? When you speak in your mother tongue, it's no problem to communicate, but when you speak in English, everyone says to you, "Can you say that again? What did you say?" Is your speech in English lacking the clarity and the confidence that you really would like to have? Then I'm going to show you with these 3 steps how you can become a confident, clear communicator in English with these 3 secret keys that are going to help you to unlock fluency and native-like level English. So if you have been learning English for many years or a few years and you still struggle to speak and communicate clearly in English, then I'm here to help you. My name's Matthew, an English language coach with over 15 years of experience helping people like you go from intermediate to advanced when it comes to speaking English. With these 3 keys, you're going to be able to access native-like level fluency where you're able to speak comfortably, confidently, and also be able to work on how to think in English so that you don't get stuck in your head and be able to enjoy the process. I'm going to give you these 3 keys for absolutely free if you watch this video. Stay till the end. The 3rd one is phenomenal and it will help you really enjoy the process of becoming an advanced speaker in English and becoming fluent in the language. Learning how language learning really works, the things you didn't learn in the classroom, to help you guys who've been learning for a few years or maybe even more than that to learn how to speak confidently and clearly in English. How to get to fluency, here's 3 amazing tips that I can give you that you won't learn in a traditional classroom that might help you to break out of intermediate stage and get to advanced speaker level. So let's get started. Are you tired of learning English for many years and learning grammar and learning vocabulary and doing exercises and still not able to communicate in a way that you feel like yourself with a native speaker or in a situation at work or with other people in a social environment? You still don't yet have the confidence and the capacities to be able to communicate effectively and enthusiastically and be able to tell your stories and be able to connect with others in English. Do you feel like you've been learning English for so long and you still can't communicate effectively in English? You still get nervous when you're speaking to a native speaker. You still feel overwhelmed. You still feel like you're thinking in your head in your native language. And by the time you're ready to speak in a meeting or in a social environment, the situation has already passed. And you're like, hey, can we go back to that point 2-3 minutes ago? I want to be able to give you 3 keys that's going to help you to get out of this stuck feeling of not being able to express yourself, to learn how to effectively communicate in English. And here is key number 1. So why does this happen? We've gone to school for years, we've been in the classroom, we've done hours of grammatical exercises, we've learned our grammar, we've been attentive in class, but we still don't know how to communicate. I want to give you the answer to this and other keys that are going to help you become an advanced speaker of English in no time. So the 3 keys address 3 major problems. 3 major problems that I have seen as a coach over the years, helping people go from intermediate to advanced speaker in no time or as soon as possible or in the quickest way possible. Then I've identified that this is one of the major things that we just don't know about. We don't understand that separate language systems are distinct in the mind. We need to understand that the mind is not the same as the mouth. Scientific studies suggest that the brain, the parts of the brain that are responsible for language production, i.e. speaking, and language comprehension, i.e. understanding, is completely different aspect of the brain. It's a completely different part of the brain. No one told me this when I was in a language class, and I'm telling you so that you understand that you need to exercise 2 parts of your brain, and if you don't have those places exercised, that's why you don't have the skills that you need to talk in English. Quick bit of science so you can show off and tell your friends. Actually, the brain's area found that the Broca's area of the brain, which is responsible for speech production, is separate from the area that handles the language comprehension, the Wernicke's area. So this is some realities that we need to learn about, that we have 2 areas of the brain. Both of them are necessary for communication, and just overemphasizing one of those is not going to allow us to get the goals that we're looking for in speaking English. So speaking must be trained like a unique muscle. We have to take our muscles to the gym. The brain gym. No, we have to take the brain gym. But we often go to the gym and we maybe exercise only one arm. Or we only do, if any of you guys go to the gym, you've seen the bodybuilders that only exercise the top part of their body, and what happens to their legs. They're still thin and skinny, but above they're strong and powerful. This might be you speaking about your brain when it comes to English. If you've been learning English for a few years and you've done a lot of exercises on grammar and you know the vocabulary, you've got big arms, you've got big torso, but the actual part of putting into practice the speaking ability, what happens in a normal traditional classroom? How often are you speaking? 10% of the time, 15% of the time, 5% of the time. Depends on the classes you're going to, but the majority of these classes are not focused on you speaking. They're focused on this other part of the brain that's developing musculature while your legs or your other arm is weak and unable to be strengthened because we don't even know that we have this muscle and we don't know that it needs to be developed. In order to become a confident communicator, we have to develop both aspects of the brain and put them together. One of the major issues for people that lack clarity in speaking is because they don't have any idea of the muscles involved of speaking. This is a major problem. We don't learn this in the classroom. Maybe you did. I didn't learn it in the classroom, and it's not something I was aware of until I became a coach and started helping people to improve their accent and understand how to use the muscles of their mouth to produce language. And this is a major issue that you will face if you're struggling with clarity in English. The major point is you don't know how to use your mouth like a native English speaker. But you have all heard people make imitations of voices, right? That means it's possible. The same human mouth is in an Indian person, is in a Arabic-speaking person, is in a Spanish-speaking person. In all the languages of the world, the mouth is exactly the same. So if we know how to use the mouth, we can learn how to speak in another accent, which is unbelievably cool and extremely exciting. So how many hours did you spend in your traditional classroom learning about how to use the muscles of your mouth? If you're learning piano, what do you learn how to use? Your fingers. If you're learning to swim, if you're learning to play guitar, what do you learn how to use? Your hands. You learn how to do your rhythm. No? If you're learning to speak English, how often do you learn how to use your mouth? Very rarely. So that's something that we would work on. That's something you need to work on if you want to improve your speaking skills, is being able to work on your pronunciation skills. If I was to tell you that they were going to learn archery and I didn't teach you how to use your hand or your back muscles or any of these things, how often would you be? So understanding the map of your mouth is going to lead you to the promised land of understanding how to speak confidently and clearly in English. So the map of your mouth and understanding the areas that an English speaker uses and the areas that it's compared to your native language is going to be able to help you to break habits, form new habits, and be able to speak fluently and comfortably in English. So here's the map of your mouth. This is the areas of your mouth that you need to get used to, which of these aspects of the mouth you are using, so you're able to understand how to form English speaking words in the way that they speak it. So the map of the mouth is extremely important, and it's going to be a key for you to understand how to speak more like a native. So with this map, you're also going to be able to develop the clarity of speech by understanding which problematic sounds that you have from your native language compared to your original language. You're going to follow the 3 R's. The 3 R's. Rule number 1 of the 3 R's is once you find those sounds, you're going to record yourself. Use your phone. Use WhatsApp or make a little video. You record yourself, and as you're recording yourself, you speak as well as you can on the sound that you're working on. Let's say it's the letter P, for example, the P. The P sound is a word that is a sound that you recognize as something you need to work on. You start to record yourself, you reshape your mouth, so you begin to work on that map and understanding how the English speaker is using that sound. You use the muscles in the same way. You imitate, and you can also use the technique of shadowing, which I can explain to you more another time. But basically, you're copying, imitating the sound of the native speaker, and then review. Sit down, don't be shy, Don't be embarrassed. You're learning how to use a new muscle, and it's normal that at first it's not so natural. It's normal that it's not so natural in the beginning. So review yourself, look back and see, hey, did I really put my lips together in that video? Did I really work on those consciously, those points that I knew that I learned from the map of the mouth and what the native speaker is doing? Am I really putting it into practice? So if you follow this process, this strategy of the 3 R's, you're going to become a confident, clear speaker of English. And if you understand how to use the map of your mouth with these practice strategies, you're going to become extremely confident in your speaking ability and speak like a native. You know that when you stand in front of someone, we're psychological beings and we have thoughts and feelings, and we don't get eliminated by doing grammar exercises. Great. So the 3 stages of development and understanding how we use translation in the head and when it's appropriate and when we have to take it off. So I want you to imagine you're learning how to swim. You go straight to the sea and jump in this sea and begin to try to learn how to swim? No. When you're learning a language, the language is like a sea. It's full of information. I've been learning English and studied English at university level. I did my undergrad in English literature and philosophy. I've read many books. I know a lot about English, but I still learn new words on a regular basis. It's not finished for me of uncovering the sea of language. So the sea of language is massive. So when we're learning how to swim, what should we do? And normally we do, we go to the baby pool. We go to the baby pool, no? And there we can identify the relevant information and the relevant techniques and the relevant goals that we can learn how to do when we are learning to swim as a baby. What are those things? Learn how to breathe underwater. I'm trying to teach my kid to swim at the moment, and he drinks half of the water. He's still not learned how to breathe underwater. Kick your legs and move your arms. And we often use techniques to help us to do that. What's these called? In English, these are arm bands. And you can see here that it's perfectly reasonable in the baby pool to use arm bands to help you float. This is like translating in your head. Translating in your head is exactly the same as using arm bands. Why? Arm bands help you float. The brain says, I don't understand these sounds and symbols. I have to turn them into sounds and symbols that I already know. Correct. It's completely normal in the beginner stage to understand how to use translation. You must use translation in the beginning, otherwise you're completely lost. But what we want to do is when we transition from the baby pool, where a lot of you guys are, what we really want to do is we want to take off the armbands. Why? If we really want to learn how to speak English, if we really want to be in a situation where we can communicate in a normal and natural and enjoyable way, what we have to do is learn how to swim. We have to learn how to speak English, and in this analogy, we have to learn how to swim. So if I have my armbands on, can I actually learn the technique of swimming? No. The armbands prohibit, or they stop me from being able to move my arms in order to learn a technique of swimming. They stop me from becoming fluent in the language. So if you're translating in your head, you need to learn how to overcome this habit and be able to develop a new habit by taking off the armbands and learning the techniques of swimming, moving your arms, kicking your legs, and learning the real techniques of speaking English. So you can really learn how to swim in the ocean. If you're interested in English coaching and you think that you would like to get there as fast as possible from intermediate to advanced stage, then book a call now with myself. I'll give you a free assessment of where I think some of your major issues are, and we can discuss exactly how you want to be able to get from A to B. Whether you're in the intermediate stage or the baby stage, we can discuss a plan, set some goals for you, and be able to develop how you would go as quickly as possible from intermediate to fluent in English. Thank you so much for your time, guys. It's been a pleasure, and I hope that this has been very helpful for you to know how to become fluent in English as soon as possible.